I pushed my brother when we were kids and his head hit a rock. Now he's brain damaged. When I, am 19, don't know if that's necessary, was 8 or 9, me and my brother were outside in front of our house playing and we got in an argument, don't remember what about, it was getting loud and I was getting angry and we were all alone together, so I decided to hit him and push him to the ground. So I push him by surprise from the back and he falls forward in slow motion and I watch as he slams his face into a huge rock in front of the house. Naturally, being a kid and not wanting to get in trouble, I run inside and don't say anything. My dad notices him not with my brother, so he goes outside to check on him and finds him laying on the ground screaming in pain and bleeding profusely. He yells at me and asks how it happened. I'm just shocked at this point because I didn't realize he was hurt that bad, so I tell him how it happened. Next I know he is being rushed to the hospital by my parents and it turns out he has a cracked skull and needed to get surgery. He's 17 now and he's been different ever since. There were no tests or anything, but he changed that day and I know it's because of the damage I caused. I killed an elderly man in front of his wife and basically his entire family. Forgive me for any misspellings or format. I'm trying to do this on my phone. I haven't talked about this to anyone, even though it's been years, even my closest of friends, minus the ones that were there. One night when I was in college, I was driving to get some liquor for a party my fraternity was supposed to throw the following night. I was taking a street I was very familiar with to get back to my house. It was dark but the street was lit with street lamps. I remember that I looked at my radio for a second, just a second, not very long at all. But when I looked back up to the road there was a man crossing. I didn't have any time to react. By the time I saw him he had already hit the hood of my car and bounced off the side. I remember screaming and hitting the brakes, and the wash of horror of what had just happened. I'll admit I had thought about speeding away, but I pulled over to the side and ran out of my car to check on this guy. When I got to him, his family was standing outside the restaurant he was leaving and they were all screaming and crying. He is laying on the side of the road with blood coming out his nose and mouth. 2 other men were standing with him trying to see if he was alright and calling 911. All I could say was I didn't see him. I was frantic by the time it had set in what I had done. I sat on the curb across from the family and listened to their crying in agony while we waited for the paramedics to arrive. I sat there and sobbed while 2 paramedics took him away in an ambulance. I don't believe I've ever cried so hard and for so long. The worst part about all of it, and what still kills me today, was that his wife came over to me while I was distraught on that curb, sat next to me, placed her hand on my shoulder and said I was married to him for almost 50 years. We had a good life. Then she hugged me and said that she forgave me. After everything was said and done, it was ruled that it was an accident. I wasn't charged with anything and I had one of my friends pick me up from the police station. I went down a dark path the years after that. I drank heavily, dropped out of college in my senior year, and had to move back in with my mother and father because I couldn't hold on to a job. Even tried to kill myself with pills. It was a hard road to recovery, which I feel I am not fully recovered from, nor do I feel I ever will be the same. But eventually I got my life back in order. Joined up with the Navy and saw a bit of the world, and now I'm on track to go back to college and hopefully finish what I started there. It took almost a decade, but I finally start to feel almost whole again. I'm back to hanging with my friends, and actually going out. So maybe there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Wow, you guys are awesome. Thanks for the support and feedback. I've never really posted anything on Reddit before because people can be assholes, but all these kind words are moving. Thank you. And big thanks to whoever reformatted my post. I'm shit at this, so thanks homie. I slept with my daughter's ex-boyfriend, he got me pregnant and I had an abortion. They got back together and got married. This was back in, let me think, maybe 1997? I was 38 and my daughter was 18, and she was dating Harry, who was 24. I was an alcoholic and dabbled in other drugs, mostly cocaine. I was not a good person, let alone mother. Not like I was abusive to my daughter or anything, but I was generally inattentive and cared more about my alcohol and drugs than her, especially in her teen years. I am 14 years sober now. I disapproved of my daughter dating Harry, but I never told her why. He would flirt with me, constantly, and the age difference also creeped me out. Also, he was an alcoholic and drug user, just like me. She broke up with him over his alcoholism. Soon after she moved away, not too far, but regardless she didn't live with me anymore. Harry kept calling me and asking if we wanted to get drinks. I turned him down, but then one day he said he had a bunch of coke and I couldn't resist. He came over, we did the coke, and we ended up having sex. He was a very good-looking guy. He looked a lot like that ridiculous 80s Justin Bieber picture that was on the front page today, That is actually what made me think about him. For the next few months, maybe like 3 to 4 months, he would sometimes come over and we would have sex and do drugs and get drunk together. Any drug addict knows what that is like to have a drug addict buddy in that way. Then I got pregnant. I knew it was by him. I had sex without a condom a few times stupidly. I never told him I was pregnant, and I went and got the abortion and kept it a secret. Anyways, I stopped seeing him after that. It was too weird. I also got sober, for like 4 months, before relapsing. Fast forward 2 years and my daughter contacts me and tells me that she got back with Harry, and that he is fully sober. I was mortified honestly. He was gonna tell her that we slept together, and she is going to hate me for life. They came over one day and said hi, and when my daughter was gone, Harry told me that there is no reason to tell her about what happened. I agreed. It's been 16 years of marriage on their part. They have a kid together. Harry got cancer, then beat it. I got sober. That's basically it. I don't see them very often. They live in Texas and I live on the East Coast. But whenever I do, there is always the tension between me and Harry. It's literally the first thing that comes to either of our minds, I can just tell. Not like sexual tension, like why did we have to do that? What the fuck is wrong with us? Kind of tension. I think about this often. Especially when I see my grandson. I always think that could have been my son if things had gone differently, but wow, what a disaster that would have been if I decided to keep that child. Found out my dead best friend was in love with my wife. I'm writing this as a confession because I don't know where else to speak about this and I don't want my kids finding this out on my main account. My friend died a few months back due to heart problems. He was taking care of himself, so it was a shock to everyone. Especially his wife, who was with him at their house when he died. Due to this, she decided to move somewhere else, and because she and her daughter were still distraught, she asked me to pack up his stuff. He had some boxes in his basement, and after a while I started feeling nostalgic and decided to look into them. I found pictures of us from when we were kids all the way to before we got married. That was enough to make me feel bad, and I just got back to taping them up. But one of the boxes seemed to be in much better condition, so I decided to check it in case it was something important. To my surprise, I found out pictures of him and my wife from when we used to hang out together, as well as more recent pictures from family reunions. The most recent being from my wife's birthday party. Alongside the pictures there were letters that he never sent her. The first one dated 2 months before I met her. The last one was also the same date of her birthday party. There was one that stood out the most, was one from after I started dating her. He wrote that his time had passed and since my happiness was as important as his own, he would watch over us. I'll keep his box safe since it isn't my secret to reveal. I watched my students beating their classmate and I ignored it. I'm a history teacher, and in my class, 12 to 13, there's this little prick that always makes a lot of noise, keeps touching and messing with other kids and employees, and makes mean, racist jokes about everyone. He is constantly trying to make my life, and the life of his classmates hell, thinking he is funny or something. In a nutshell, he is a bully. Yesterday he destroyed his group project, causing everyone in his group to fail. Although I'm giving more time for the rest of his group to remake all of their lost work. I already tried calling his mom. The bitch defends her precious son that would never do such bad things. He's such a sweetie. Today I was walking to the teacher's room to grab my coffee and I saw the kid being dragged to a corner. I knew what was going on the moment I saw it, and I just ignored what I saw and kept going my way. The kid got roughed up and had to go home early while every soul at the class is silent shut about any suspects, but I believe that everyone in the class knew about this for some time now. I personally feel no remorse, nor I plan to advance or help on the investigation. I just pretend nothing happened and gave my lecture as always. No remorse, but I can't change the flair. Edit. Some more information. I am a Brazilian and this school is a very small and poor one in the bad part of Rio de Janeiro. We do not have most of the resources, be it money or professionals, or the policies that you commenters have suggested to me. I know I was the asshole in this situation. I won't let this shit happen again, nor will I praise anyone that took part on this, but this is a confession subreddit and I confess that it felt good. Also, the kid is fine. They hit him in the belly and arms and obviously I won't let that happen again. The school is giving him extra care and attention. I gave a lactose intolerant customer dairy on purpose. I know this sounds weird, but when I worked at Starbucks, there was a regular customer that was very difficult and rude. I was warned of this customer on my first day of training. She came in every morning and would try to rush the workers on doing their job and makes other customers feel uncomfortable. 3 months into working, she came in one morning and caused absolute hell. She was complaining about her drink while one of my coworkers was making the drink. As soon as she got it, she accidentally spills it and asks for a completely different drink. I was so fed up. She wanted a frappuccino. She went to the bathroom while we were making the new order. I switched with my coworker and made the drink. Instead of almond milk, I made the frappuccino with regular milk. The drink was ready by the time she left the bathroom. She takes the drink and takes a sip and didn't complain. 5 hours later, she calls the Starbucks from the hospital and I was the one who picked up. She got in a car accident trying to rush to a bathroom. She said she shitted her pants. I couldn't be any more happier that she was safe but got her karma. After 13 years clean and 8 years of marriage, I did heroin 3 weeks ago and almost came close to fully relapsing. I was a heroin addict in the Lower East Side of Manhattan in the 1990s as a teen. I got clean at 21 years old after years of abuse. I got married at 26 to my amazing and beautiful wife. She knows I was an addict. I spent all these years not even really thinking that much about the concept of relapsing. It had been so long. I still thought about it, but with marriage and my kids and everything, the thought of it was just so ridiculously out of sight to even consider trying it again. 3 weeks ago, it was my friend's birthday. He is 4 years younger than me, so of course he wants to go to some cool hip sketchy bar/club thing in Bushwick. I got drunk, really drunk. I hadn't really drank much at all in the past few years, so my tolerance was way lower than expected. There was a dealer outside and a few other junkies nearby. I don't even fully remember what happened. I just remember going with them, abandoning my friend at the bar, it was like 1 a.m. anyways, and going to some apartment and shooting up. I spent the night there, then all the way until noon the next day. I had 10 missed calls. I panicked when I came out of my daze. I told my wife I had gotten way too drunk and was puking and my phone was out of battery, so I stayed at Charlie's house. She was disappointed I didn't tell her, but also thought it was funny because she used to tease me for not being able to handle my liquor. This was a "I told you so" moment. She had told me not to drink too much before I went to the bar. She wasn't even in New York, she was at a summer house with the kids in Massachusetts. I spent the next 4 days until they got back just riddled with anxiety, urges to get more heroin, horrific mind zaps, I don't even know what to call them. It was, in some ways, worse than my withdrawal symptoms when I first was an addict. Not because of the physical feeling, but the horrible mental feeling of what I was possibly giving up, my wife and kids. I wanted to fucking get more so badly. I left my house to find heroin 4 fucking times. 4 times, I gave up to get more, but wasn't able to find any and snapped back to reality and went back home. I still thank fucking God I did not somehow run into some street dealer during those 4 times. I would have absolutely done it. I feel like everything I thought about myself, that I was strong, that my addiction was behind me, that I had beat heroin. It was all gone. I am not going to say I am back at square one or anything, I am not. But I feel like something inside of me has reset. My unwavering strength against addiction was broken at the slightest temptation. I still am weak. Heroin is so much stronger than me. It's truly unbelievable how much stronger it is than me. When I was young, my aunt had cancer. She beat it. Then it came back soon after, and she beat it again. It didn't come back, and we loved how strong she was for fighting her cancer and that she had overcome it. She lived with us. I remember her feeling of strength after her 2nd year of not having cancer, her 3rd year, her 6th year. It finally felt like it was gone for good. Her thinking it's finally behind me now, it's a part of my past, and then it just fucking came back. 9 years after her first diagnosis, it came back and killed her. I remember her feelings and how she felt about it. So many years after she thought it had gone away. That is how I feel. Like a cancer which I thought I got rid of a decade ago just showed back up on my screening. The first 5 to 6 days after I tried it that time outside the bar were the worst. My kids and wife have come back. The urges mostly went away the second I saw my kids. I hugged them so damn hard. And I never told my family what happened, nor will I ever. My wife never understood that side of me. She met me 5 whole years after I was clean. I just cannot have her know, ever. I won't do it again. I am planning on not drinking to excess like that again, except maybe in very specific situations like at the summer house where there is no option of drugs. I mean, not like I want to get drunk again like that, but just in case I ever want to get loose. I am never doing that in the city again. I am still about 90% plus sure that I won't ever touch heroin again. I am still positive in myself about it. It's just. It used to be 99% sure. That is what fucking terrifies me. I said heroin is stronger than me. It is absolutely stronger than me. But the reason I won't ever do it again is that it isn't stronger than my family, my wife and kids. I don't care about how good it feels, I will not subject my wife and children to me being an addict. I would rather just kill myself than that. I found my brother's suicide note on Reddit and didn't tell anyone. When I was around 14 or 15 I found my older brother's Reddit account because of a secret Santa package that got sent to us. I of course wanted to snoop onto his account, so I checked his history, and found all of his posts for the past month had been pinned to r/depression. One post mentioned how my family, including me, were out of town due to me playing sports. That was the night he said he would finally commit suicide. He mentioned either pills or knives, and it still haunts me to this day. I was obscenely scared when I found this post, and was home alone and vowed to myself to never let anyone know that I found this. To this day, my parents do not know, and have tried to keep me in the dark about his struggles with mental health as much as they can, and my brother most definitely does not know. The only person who knows is my now long-term girlfriend, and now you guys. I feel awful for never telling anyone in my family, and I feel like this has taken a toll on my own mental health, which in itself is not in a good state at all. I just want to thank whoever dissuaded my brother from committing suicide that day. He doesn't know how much of a positive impact he's had on my life, and you kept him around so he could further that impact. I stole my dad's car at night to lose my virginity to a chick I had never met. Hi, I'm 20 now, but this happened when I was barely 16. I met this girl on Hot or Not who said she wanted to have her way W me, so I was like, dope, I'm gonna get some good strange for my first time. I decided to meet up W her on a Friday night. I waited for my parents to go to sleep, then snuck out my window with my dad's keys and stole his car to meet this girl I had never met, Earl. I call her on my parents' house phone right before I sneak out to make sure she knows I'm coming over. They took my cell phone at night. So I get there and guess what? She not there _. I drive back to the McDonald's down the road from her place and call her using the phone number I had written on my handwritten Google Maps directions, again had no cell. She tells me she will be home in 30 minutes, so I waited out. I go there around 1230 AM and she's waiting for me out on the porch. I walk up and I was like, oh shit, she's a lot less attractive than in her pics, but I'm already here and went through this much shit to get here, so fuck it, why not? We do the thing while on the floor, and 2 days later I got ringworm on my ass cheek. I also neglected to tell her I was a virgin till I was done smashing. Haven't told anyone except my close guy friends that story. Edit. She had dogs that rubbed their ass on the floor and I was unaware, so it gave me ringworm on my ass cheek because she wanted to fuck on the floor. It was a terrible night but memorable. Edit 2. Wow, thanks guys for the golden hella upvotes. Love you all. I anonymously put my friend's phone number on a gay Craigslist ad. This was a few years ago before CL stopped the relationship stuff. As a joke, I created an ad of Craigslist relationships, male looking for male. Essentially the ad was pretty much a guy looking for a one-way ticket to Pound Town, ready to fuck and suck anything, willing to be a cum dump, and all types of things. I made sure to make it for serious inquiries only. I put his phone in the weird code like everyone else on similar ads like 55553375545. I sat back and waited. The next day, he makes a FB post about who the fuck put my number on a gay Craigslist ad, and if he gets one more dick pic he will strangle whoever did this. As you could imagine, the comment replies on his post were great. The calls/texts continued for a few days until I took the post down and went to go hang out with him. He told me about the phone calls he got, the text messages, the pics. Oh, it was great. I never laughed so hard. I never admitted to it. I don't regret it.